Hey guys, it's Amber from NotableInk.com and I'm thrilled to be back with Altenew for another of their amazing releases. We have lots of cards to share, so I'm going to hop right into creating. Here I have the Mega Bloom Stencil and I am ink blending Buttercream Crisp Dye ink. Then I'm going to come in and add some shadows with Mango Smoothie, which is from the 4 Scoops set. As always, I will have all of the specific products listed down below in the description. Now I am ink blending on cotton candy. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do that down below and be sure to like this video if you are enjoying it. So I'm going to remove the stencil and then I'm going to add some artist marker. So here I have the same colors. I have cotton candy, buttercream, and then also a mango smoothie marker. And right about now, I'm looking at this and thinking, I've totally ruined this card. But I'm just going to keep going and see. So a lot of times if I'm not loving what's happening, I will try and complete the card and go all the way to the end because most of the time you can salvage the card and you learn a little bit of something as you're going through the process. So if you saw my Paint a Flower Iris video, I'll put a link up above in case you missed it. But I just kept going until I loved that card. So here I have Volcano Lake marker and I'm using the bullet nib to add some dots. This is a technique that Alex Siberia is just amazing at. So I've picked this up from her. She does it extraordinarily well. So this is my version, and sorry I didn't have all of that on film, but I added larger dots with the brush nib of the buttercream and cotton candy markers. Here I have a sentiment from Sentiment Strips 2 stamp set, which is new for this release. So many great sentiments in that. You know the first one is a fave of mine. And check out these new sequins. These are the satin gold sequins and they're gorgeous. I love the color of them. It's the perfect shade of gold and they're not too bright and in your face. They're just the perfect shade. So here I have the smaller ones adhered to the card to kind of mimic the rest of the dots. So this is another card where I was glad I kept going. So moving on to the next card, this is the Sweet Spring Stencil and I'm inking it up in Volcano Lake. I'm actually going to ink this up vertically. You could do this pattern. This is a layering stencil. And you could do this pattern horizontal or vertical. I decided to do it vertical just, I don't know, to do something a little bit different. I'm going to add 3 different sections here, trying not to overlap them too much, but a little bit is okay. And then I'm going to come in with Midnight Violet. So this is going to be a super vibrant card. I did do another version of this. I didn't actually take pictures of it, but I did another version with Mountain Mist and one of the lighter purples, and I liked the vibrant colors more, and so that's what I'm sharing today. So it's really easy to line up. You just turn the stencil 180 degrees and line up the layered image over the image you've already ink blended and ink away. This sentiment is from a set that's not quite released yet, so that's a little bit of a sneak peek. You will see that coming soon. And here's the finished card. I love those crisp edges and it ink blended so beautifully. Here we have Altenew Statement Flowers. This is my kind of stamp set, you guys. I know I'm going to want to use it over and over. Here's the Artist 24 pan watercolor set, and I'm going to be using Cherry Blossom, Seashore, and then I'll also pull out Green Hills when I go to do the leaves. So just have a pointed round brush here, and I'm just adding a layer of clean clear water, not too much. And I'm dropping in some seashore here. So always on the first petal that I do of the flower, I just kind of experiment to see what kind of look I'm going for. Also to see how the watercolors are going to move on the paper and how vibrant I want to go. So here you can see, now this is vibrant, but it's not as vibrant as it's going to get, you guys. It's actually going to get more vibrant. So like I said, this is my test petal. So I'll show you a couple more. But here I'm just kind of teasing the watercolor around and then playing with the saturation of it. So how deep do I want to go at the base and how deep of a pink do I want at the top of the petals. So we'll do a few of these petals. So same kind of thing. I'm just dropping in the color. Look how it moves, you guys. That's the sign of really great watercolors. when they move like that. That and also the combination of the watercolors on your paper. So here I'm dropping in that, and you can see I'm not even using clean water anymore. My brush was still dirty. This is the petal where it's going to be really vibrant. So this is about what I'm going to do with the rest of the card. So underneath the folds there, you do want to go darker under your folds, and look how vibrant that is. I love it. So that's like pretty much full pigment from the pan. I'm dropping it in. I love how it mixes with the color that's already on the paper because it's wet. So I'll continue with the rest of the bloom that way. And then I'm going to mix some greens. So this is Green Hills, and I'm mixing it with the pink, the cherry blossom that I already have on my paper because I wanted to dull it down. With my petals being so vibrant, I wanted a little bit of a dulled down green. I didn't want a super vibrant green that's going to compete with my flowers because let's be honest, this is called statement flowers, you guys. Like, you want those flowers to take center stage. So here, in order to create a darker green for my shadows, I'm going to mix Seashores and Cherry Blossom to create a purple and then add the Green Hills to that. So now I have two different shades of green that are a little bit dulled down, and I'm putting in the lighter color first, then dropping in the darker at the base. And I do that for my first coat, and then I come back in with a second layer of the green. So for the flowers, I did one layer, you guys. So I dropped in the Seashores, I dropped in the Cherry Blossom, and that was it. That's all I did for those flowers. I wanted to add a little more depth to these leaves because they don't have the folds and the nooks and crannies. And so for the second layer, my leaves are dry. I dropped in the darker pigment, came in and blended that out with a little bit of the lighter green, and then blended that out with a little bit of clean, clear water. For the center, I'm using the light green first, took up a little bit of that from the center to bleach it out to white again with a paper towel, and then I'm dropping in the darker color around the edges. I kind of wanted to have the center, the very center, be separate, so I wanted a hard edge for that center that I turned white. So I dried it with my heat tool, dropped in a little bit more of the lighter color, and then I'm going to put in dots of the darker color around the edges to add some texture. And that's going to look really cool once it's dry. It kind of creates almost like a dome shape to the center of your flower. Now, I got a little bit of that cherry blossom on the side, so I went ahead and fussy cut my image. I tried to lift the cherry blossom, you guys, but it's hard to lift reds, and I wasn't able to bleach it back to white, so I just went ahead and fussy cut it. So I'm stamping my sentiment on another piece of watercolor paper. And these are the antique gold sequins, which are also beautiful. They're a little bit brighter and shinier. So pretty though. There's also satin white sequins, and though I don't use that in this release, I do use that on the 6th anniversary blog hop that's going to be coming up, so look out for that. Here I'm using the Zigzag Floral stamp set in Cotton Candy and Mango Smoothie, and you may notice this gorgeous stamping mat that I'm using. So the stamping mat is perfect to use with your acrylic blocks. It's a soft surface, so you're going to get a much better stamped image than you would if you're trying to use your blocks on a glass mat, let's say. So for the other cards, I actually had this mat underneath my glass mat. I didn't want to do my watercolor on it and risk staining the surface. So especially with that red that I was using, like, it was hard to lift it off of the paper. It very likely would have stained my mat, and I want to keep it nice and pretty. But anytime I do the acrylic block stamping, this is what I would use so that I get a better stamping. Now in your Misty obviously has a pad in there. Here I'm doing a little dance because I'm always so impressed with how Obsidian Pigment Ink stamps. It's amazing in just one stamp. For the centers, I used Cotton Candy, Mango Smoothie, and for the darker yellow, that's Snapdragon. I made another card with the Zigzag Floral stamp set, and it struck me as the flowers being out of focus, so I did a custom sentiment focus with the simple alpha dies. And then for the Stay Strong and You've Got This, one is from Sentiment Strips and one is from Sentiment Strips 2. So those two sets obviously coordinate really well together. Here are all of the finished cards. I hope that you guys enjoyed these projects today and feel inspired to create with the new release. Thank you so much for stopping by. Be sure to join us on the blog hop for loads of more inspiration. As I said, I'll have details on colors and products that I use listed down below and in my blog. I'll see you real soon with more inspiration.